Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly chilling. We are going to unpack a case study that shows exactly how natural, understandable grief can mutate into a terrifying and utterly destructive obsession. This is the tragic story of Aditya, a man who point-blank refused to accept his wife's death, and, well, the nightmarish consequences that followed.
So it really begs the question, right? Where exactly does true love end and fatal obsession begin? Aditya completely believed his actions were driven by pure love. But as we're going to see throughout this breakdown, refusing to let go and tampering with the literal laws of nature, yeah, that isn't love. It's a deadly fixation that ends up devouring everything in its path. Let's get into it.
Omens and defiance. Okay, let's trace the timeline of how fast this all went wrong. Hour 1, an arrogant Aditya completely ignores a dire warning from a village priest. Hour 12, right after their wedding, heading to their ancestral village, a speeding truck violently strikes their car. The priest's prophecy basically materialized with devastating speed, because by hour 24, Aditya wakes up alone in a hospital bed, only to learn that his beloved Priya died on impact. Her body had already been sent to the local morgue because of an incoming storm. Just a total, rapid shattering of this joyful couple.
Grief becomes obsession.
That dark, lonely hospital room is exactly where natural mourning twisted into something highly unnatural. Listen to this vow he makes. I will bring you back no matter what I have to do, even if I have to go to the devil. He actually ripped out his IV lines, stared at a photo of Priya, and made a conscious, horrific choice. You see, this wasn't just a heartbroken man lashing out in the moment. This was a deliberate vow to cross every single moral boundary. Blinded by grief, he literally decided that death was just an obstacle he could overpower.
The forbidden ritual.
Driven completely by madness, Aditya seeks out a rogue disciple at the very ashram that had warned him, and he learns about something called Shav Sadhana. Basically, this is a highly taboo, ancient tantric ritual performed at midnight in a cremation ground using a corpse. The whole goal is to chant specific mantras to drag a wandering soul back into its physical vessel. But, you guys, there is a massive catch. If this ritual is interrupted, or if the practitioner shows even an ounce of fear, a random, wandering evil entity will attach itself to the summoner instead.
Aditya's descent into this madness was just so cold and calculated. Step 1. Under the cover of darkness, he actually steals his own wife's body from the government morgue. He drags it to the cremation ground. Step 2, he draws a mandala using ash and vermilion. Step 3, lights black candles. And Step 4, begins chanting dark mantras. And the horror escalates so fast here. The temperature absolutely plummets. Smoke starts escaping his breath, and hundreds of flies swarm out of Priya's half-open mouth. I mean, nature itself is screaming at him to stop. But his obsession makes him entirely blind to these massive, terrifying red flags.
A monstrous resurrection. So the ritual technically worked, but whatever woke up in that cremation ground was not his wife. Look at the stark contrast here. On one side, you have Aditya's memory, the peaceful, loving woman he desperately wanted back. But the reality was a grotesque mockery of her. The entity that opened its eyes had skin tinged blue, pupils entirely rolled back, and spoke with this heavy, guttural growl. And yet, because he is so utterly consumed by his delusion, Aditya still takes this demonic vessel back to his house. He locks it in a room, basically convincing himself that his love could somehow fix it.
What unfolded in that house is pure nightmare fuel. Waking up in the middle of the night, Aditya finds this entity crawling upside down on the ceiling, literally moving like a spider to catch and devour a lizard. It's tearing into raw, rotting meat with its bare hands. This horrendous stench of decay fills the whole home as the creature vomits black fluid and spits out white worms. In the clencher, when it passes a mirror, the reflection isn't Kriya. It's this horrifying, elongated, disfigured monster. Aditya's obsession didn't save his wife. It quite literally spawned a demon.
The final exorcism.
Desperate and terrified, Aditya finally runs back to the ashram, only to face a devastating bombshell from the old village priest. The chilling truth is, Shav Sadhana never brings back the original soul. Never. Instead, Aditya had trapped a wandering, malevolent spirit inside Priya's body. And now they're in a terrifying race against time. The longer this entity inhabits the stolen flesh, the stronger it grows. And to make matters so much worse, tonight is the new moon. Once darkness falls completely, the spirit's power is going to multiply exponentially.
They have to get the body back to the exact same cremation ground before it becomes completely unstoppable.
When they arrive, the house is an absolute war zone of rotting smells and black handprints. Step 1. The young priest throws holy water, causing the entity to shriek in agony as they aggressively bind it with ropes. Step 2. Transporting it, and the real terror happens in the car on the way to the cremation ground. For Step 3, they have to resist these crazy psychological illusions. The spirit starts weaponizing his mind, making it seem like there are two Prius in the back seat, one of whom starts violently choking the young priest. It's this chaotic, violent struggle just to keep the entity contained so they can finally reach Step 4, burning the body on the pyre.
Even as they lay the struggling body onto the funeral pyre, the entity plays one last, brutal mental game. Using Priya's exact voice, it cries out to Aditya, begging him to stop, claiming she's alive and suffocating. Aditya freezes. His obsession flares right back up, bringing him to tears, and he's ready to undo everything. But the old priest shouts this vital truth. She is deceiving you. Priya is gone. The illusion shatters. With trembling hands, Aditya finally accepts reality, lights the pyre, and destroys the physical vessel of his obsession.
So, I'll leave you with this to ponder. By refusing to let go, did Aditya destroy the very memory he sought to save? He thought he was fighting for love, but his absolute inability to accept reality turned Priya's memory into a horrific nightmare. It's a pretty chilling reminder of the fatal consequences of obsession. When we challenge the natural order and let that kind of dark fixation take the wheel, we often destroy the very thing we love most. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.